Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something that I have been struggling with my entire life and that I struggle with to this day, which is how to take a compliment. I don't know whether it's British culture or my own family's particular brand of British culture, but for some reason I have never felt comfortable taking compliments from people. Being complimented usually makes me feel embarrassed, or I feel like I've been put on the spot and that I have to put on some kind of performance of how I'm supposed to react. For most of my life, that meant outright denying the compliment, contradicting the person who's complimenting me and telling them that they're incorrect in their judgment and that I'm not as good as they're saying that I am, or telling them that they're just being nice and that they don't really mean what they're saying at all. I used to do this consistently. I would never feel good about getting compliments because I was always just so anxious about that, about the performance of what I was supposed to be doing in response to the compliment, that I couldn't enjoy the compliment. Although, of course, I still liked to think back on the compliment later. I enjoyed it after the fact, but in the moment I could never enjoy myself or enjoy the compliment the person was giving me. And I never really thought it was a problem until a few years ago when I started listening to Harmontown, which is Dan Harmon, the TV writer who wrote Rick and Morty and Community. His podcast Harmontown, which I've talked about before on this channel. He frequently talks about things that his therapist has been telling him. It's just that kind of show. He's constantly talking about his own self-improvement and his own problems that he has. And one of the things that his therapist told him is that when you contradict someone who's giving you a compliment, you're telling that person who's complimenting you that they're wrong, or that their judgment is bad, that they've judged you incorrectly because they're stupid, or because they're naive, or you're telling them that they're being dishonest. You're telling them, oh, you're just sucking up to me. You're just flattering me, which is a rather harsh accusation to throw on someone who's just complimented you, to tell them that they're a flatterer or that they're just pandering to you. That's it's actually not a very nice thing to do, to tell someone that their compliment is invalid or that it's dishonest. Of course, that is rather a dramatic way of thinking about it, and most people, I don't think about it that hard, obviously, and it doesn't really insult the person that much to reject their compliment. But in a sense, I think it's still wrong to do that, and I've stopped doing that myself. After listening to that and thinking about it, I stopped contradicting people who were complimenting me, but I was still left in a kind of awkward performance where I would just sort of laugh awkwardly, usually if somebody paid me a compliment, and change the subject or just leave it, ignore it completely as if nothing had been said, because to fully acknowledge the compliment was still too much for me. It was too embarrassing to acknowledge that somebody had praised me for something. And I still couldn't feel good about it, which I think is the kind of crux of all of this, because the person paying you a compliment, they want you to feel good. That's why they're giving you a compliment. They want you to feel good, and usually it's actually for something true. They want to tell you something that they like about you, that is true, that they believe is true. Unless you are forcing a compliment out of them and fishing for compliments, or if you're in a position of power and they're just pandering to you, most of the time people are giving compliments. It's pretty easy to tell when it's a genuine compliment, and in that situation they just want you to feel good. It makes them feel good to see you be happy with the compliment you give them. So I think since I started this YouTube channel, I've sort of got many more compliments and much more praise than I normally do, just because that's the format of YouTube, is that you make a video and then people tell you either they like it or they don't. It's sort of course they might respond in a more complicated way than that. And since YouTube is a completely anonymous platform, that person can't really expect anything in return for this compliment other than the satisfaction of knowing that they have made me or the creator of the YouTube video feel a little bit better, and to encourage them to make more similar videos that they will enjoy in the future. And the other thing that YouTube did is to put me in contact with people of other cultures. And I think in other countries in the world, perhaps the culture around compliments is a little bit less awkward. And I think I don't know for sure, maybe you could tell me if you're from a country other than the UK. I think compliments have much less of a stigma in other countries, and people are happy to just accept a compliment and say thank you. The thing about saying thank you is that you don't even have to acknowledge that you agree with the compliment. All that thank you is saying, that's nice that you said that. I feel good that you gave me that compliment. Thank you does not mean, oh, I believe that I am as good as you say I am. It's not even an acknowledgement of that dramatic. It's just an acknowledgement that you heard the compliment and it made you feel good to hear it. If they go to the trouble of leaving a comment and I just ignore it because I am concerned with my own self-image about appearing to be arrogant or putting on this performance of humbleness, it's just going to come across as being aloof, right? I'm just going to come across like I don't have time to read my comments. Ironically, I think it's arrogant to assume that the person paying you a compliment cares that much about your reaction, or that they care about whether or not you look humble or arrogant in the way that you accept this compliment. They're not out to find reasons to hate you. They're not out to find reasons to disparage you or think worse of you. They just want to pay you a compliment. That's all the transaction is in their mind. To inflate the situation into this performance where you have to act humble, I think it's just making it way more complicated and way more self-centered than it needs to be. The compliment isn't just about you, it's also about the person giving it, I think, is the overall takeaway from this video. And maybe this is just a problem that I've had that no one else in the entire universe has had, but I feel like if you watched this video and you clicked on this video with this title, perhaps you are having a similar problem and you would like to take compliments better. It's not something that I think I've perfected, but I think these kind of realizations that I've had and this sort of personal growth that I've experienced might benefit someone else who's having a similar problem. So I hope that you've at least found this interesting, even if it's not helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching.